call this meeting to order. We're gonna ask Mr. John Rich, would you give us a evening prayer?
Eternal God, our Father, we come before you and bow before you. We recognize that you are Lord of all. We thank you and appreciate the stewards that are here before us as aldermen. We pray that they would consider your will and your way in the business that they conduct. Father, continue to keep your hand of blessing on the city of West Memphis and use this body today to move the city forward one more step. I pray these things in the name of the Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Come on, give us our pledge.
Let's face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Calling this meeting to order. Miss City Clerk, will you call? You ready?
Mayor McClendon,
Present.
City Attorney Stevenson,
Here.
City Treasurer Martin, Councilor Cat,
Here.
Councilor Crum,
Here.
Councilor Harris, Councilor Pope,
Here.
Councilor Hutchinson, Councilor Monday,
Here.
Councilor Murray,
Here.
Councilor Pulliam,
Here.
Councilor Muhammad,
Present.
Councilor Willis.
Here.
With a quorum being present, we're gonna move on with the agenda. Can I get a motion and second to approve the minutes?
So moved.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? They're approved. Mr. City Attorney, would you give us our old business?
This is second reading, an ordinance requiring all public records of the city of West Memphis to remain on city property or storage property rented by the city and be available and accessible for inspection or copying by city administrators, city employees, and citizens of the state of Arkansas, and for other purposes.
May I get a motion to further suspend the rules and place it on its third and final reading?
So moved.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed?
An ordinance requiring all public records of the city of West Memphis to remain on city property or storage property rented by the city and be available and accessible for inspection or copying by city administrators, city employees, and citizens of the state of Arkansas, and for other purposes.
May I get a motion and second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
In discussion?
Mayor, if you don't mind, could you give just like a brief history of what the municipal league you all talked about on that?
Okay, well, we had a situation where some records were taken off of city-owned property and property not rented by the city, and were only accessible to maybe one person. As a result of that, we received advice from the municipal league that one of the things we needed to do was to have an ordinance which required city records to be on public property and accessible to the public, which would satisfy the Freedom of Information Act. In case we had requests made upon us, those records would be accessible, and we wouldn't be violating any law.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ms. Starr, you get that ordinance a number, please?
Ordinance number 2518.
2518.
Mayor, make a motion read 01 and 02 by title only.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. On R1 first, let me ask you all to add R1. Can I get a motion and second to add R1 to the agenda?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to read it by title only.
All right, second?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? That passes too. Mr. City Attorney.
R1 is a resolution of intent to issue industrial development revenue bonds.
Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, could we have Philip Sorrell come up and just kind of explain what we're doing to the public who are going to be viewing this on
Sure.
Channel 17.
Thank you, Council. As you all know, in our economic development efforts, we compete with other communities around the state as well as other states in our recruitment of industrial prospects. And in doing so, we have certain incentives at our disposal that we use, and all other communities and other states offer these same types of incentives, which are basically abatement of property taxes as it relates to these projects. We're working a project now that we're very close on. It will be a $40 million investment into this community, creating many new jobs. Not at liberty at this point in time to reveal the name of the company, but this resolution that you have before you is one that you recently did for another company some months ago, so it should be familiar to you. It's an inducement resolution, basically just saying that you would enter into a pilot agreement, which stands for payment in lieu of taxes, through the issuance of these industrial revenue bonds, if the company is to locate their facility here. And at this point, it's one of the incentives that we locally can control. The state has other incentives that we put on the table as well, and it's just a tool that we use to incent the company to come here. Are there any questions as it relates to that? Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you very much. The rain caught my attention out there. I just-
All right. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? It passes. Ms. City Clerk, will you get that resolution or number?
Resolution number 2208.
2208. Mr. City Attorney, would you read 01?
An ordinance authorizing the junior deputy city clerk to attest the mayor's signature in the case of the elected city clerks and the senior deputy city clerk's absence or unavailability, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Mayor asks that we suspend the rules, place it on second reading.
Second.
So moved.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the junior deputy city clerk to attest the mayor's signature in the case of the elected city clerks and the senior deputy city clerk's absence or unavailability, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Mayor asks that we further suspend the rules and place it on its third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the junior deputy city clerk to attest the mayor's signature in the case of the elected city clerks and the senior deputy city clerk's absence or unavailability, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Get a motion and second to approve.
So moved.
Second. In discussion.
Actually, which I like to make amendment to, I guess, so we got it on the emergency clause. But I mean, for as the, I know we gave, it's not saying in it, it's appealing the ordinance that we did on, you know, when we add you to it.
Yes.
So I'd like for us to amend it to say that that ordinance is appeal or, you know, repeal or whatever. When we made Mr. Cat the,
I think he's on the treasurer.
Yeah, that's a different,
the
it's a-
treasurer.
yeah, it's for, it's a treasurer situation, not the city clerk.
okay, okay, all right, good.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
All right.
Opposed? It passed. Can you get that ordinance a number, please?
Ordinance number 2519.
We've got the emergency clause too on that.
All right. I get a motion and second to approve the emergency clause.
So moved.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? It passes. City Attorney, would you read 02?
02 is an ordinance calling a special election in the city of West Memphis, Arkansas on the question of issuing bonds under amendment number 62 to the Constitution of the state of Arkansas for the purpose of financing all or a portion of the cost of capital improvements and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto.
Mayor may ask that we suspend the rules and place it on the second reading.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? The second reading.
An ordinance calling a special election in the City of West Memphis, Arkansas on the question of issuing bonds under Amendment Number 62 to the Constitution of the State of Arkansas for the purchase of financing all or a portion of the cost of capital improvements and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto.
Mayor, may I ask that we further suspend the rules, place it on its third reading?
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed?
An ordinance calling a special election in the City of West Memphis, Arkansas on the question of issuing bonds under Amendment Number 62 to the Constitution of the State of Arkansas for the purpose of financing all or a portion of the cost of capital improvements and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto.
Being read the third time, can I get a motion and a second to
So
approve?
moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Could we have the budget chair, Councilman Cat, kind of give a briefing on this?
Yes, we also have bond representation here who can definitely give you in more detail. Basically, these are three projects that the council has wanted to undertake. One is the library, the portion that they do not currently have, the parks, Tilden Rogers, redoing the ball fields, and Roberta Jackson Neighborhood Center and the Hightower Park. Total interest now, $10,900,000, I think, somewhere in there. The revenue source that will be paying this debt without any tax increase at all to our citizens will be the recalculated formula that has been brought together or brought forth by the state of Arkansas with Southland Gaming. Approximately, we're estimating $950,000 annually as a repayment, and the fund revenue is on the low side, probably $2.4 million. So we're very comfortable with where we are at this point in time.
That's not coming out to existing. It's already on.
Has nothing to do with the revenue sources that you've already had previously, which was approximately 3.6, 3.7 million. That'll still be in the 2020 general fund budget.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? It passes. Ms. City Clerk, will you get 02 a number?
2520.
2520. I need permission to distribute City Council member, Councilman Crone's portion of the dog track funds to families in transition.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? That- Councilwoman Hutchinson, welcome. I need permission requests from you guys for the Human Resource Director to the mayor and the council members to fill the position for a Human Resources Assistant.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
One
Oh,
quick,
go
one
ahead.
quick question. Okay, like, on this, did they ever determine, I'm just saying for what the salary's gonna be, I'm just,
Yes, it has. I do not have it in front of me. HR director is here
okay.
currently. She didn't come to council. Okay. It was not on the sheet that you presented to us. We had fire and police and all the adjustments that were made with the other raises, but that one she did not put
So you
on there.
being budget
So
chair, so it's.
I do
fine.
not, yes, yeah.
Okay, okay.
The remaining 3 months of the year, no issues at all. We'll make sure it's added into the 2020
That's
budget.
what I was trying to make sure.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Commissioner, for that. Also, I want the record to reflect that Councilwoman Hutchinson is here.
Thank you so much, and thank you. I'll note for the next 5 o'clock.
Committee reports, airport?
We met this morning, matter of fact, at 8 o'clock, but we did not have a quorum. All the repairs and the marking of the runways have all been done, and until we have a quorum, which should be happening next month, we can't decide on some other projects they got going.
And Chamber of Commerce?
Chamber met on September the 11th at the Southland Casino Racing. President Wayne Croom welcomed and called to order. John Collins, the school millage, had brought up the fact that the school millage had passed. The new schools will now become reality for several of the facilities. I think you named West Junior High and what was the, Wonder?
East and Wonder. East Wonder
That's
or
some
Wonder.
that were gonna be rebuilt. The economic development, Philip Sorrell proudly announced that a couple of good projects are being worked on by the economic development at this time. Our support from all the elected officials should be solid for Philip. I know we all do support him. And Mallory, I think they've both done an exceptional job for a short period of time I've been here. I've always been impressed with industry. I had an opportunity at one time, kind of like Wayne, I got to work in some big industry, and it's still a good, stable thing to have in your local economy if you can land them. I'd like to invite everyone to participate in the Henry Bell Open if you get a chance at the Meadowbrook Country Club on September the 21st at 8 a.m. And on September the 26th, there will be the Hall of Fame banquet, which is going to be held at the Southland Casino and Racing. That's where I think they induct some of the basketball players and fellows from the high school here locally. And on September the 27th, Fred Leonard State Farm will have the hometown showdown 2019 at West Memphis High School for the tailgate party. And that's it. Thank you.
Did we miss any meetings?
Mayor, I'd just like to remind the council as a whole, next Thursday, we will meet between 12 and 2 or 3 and 5. I'll get everybody a text out, the budget meeting, going over the updated sales tax information, plus we'll use that as an educational opportunity to talk specifically about revenue. We have some new council members that, and some of us older ones may have forgotten a few things, that's for sure. So I just want to use September, October, and November as an opportunity just to educate, update the budget before we hand it out on November 30th.
Mayor, I'm sorry. The Personnel Committee did meet.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I would, however, if you will allow me to have my full report, I'm thinking we probably will have met again by the first meeting next month, so I'll give both reports. I can give both of them. Thank you.
Mayor, our police commission didn't have a chance to meet because of confliction on, we had A
The
and P
dates,
and-
yeah.
and we weren't able to get there. But we need some information from our chief of police about our night out. Can we get that, chief?
Yeah, nothing now, it'll be October 1st, to get started in there.
Can you come up to the mic, if you don't mind?
You don't like to do that? You don't like to do that? Yeah, like I need it. National Night Out will be October the 1st, which is a Tuesday. It'll begin at 6 o'clock and end at 8 over at the Civic Center. And looking for everybody's participation. Any other questions? For the whole city gonna be there, absolutely. We had low participation, and people's turning in their application, and at your request to have one, that we just decided to do a group engagement. Okay?
Thank you.
Also, I want to add on behalf of the police department, I was notified today, I talked with Chief Langston and Captain Johnson that they received the JAG grant again this year, which was $35,000. Any other announcements?
I had one, hope that by the next meeting we have, the Public Facility Board, I like for the people that sits on the Public Facility Board to come to our next meeting, because a lot of people, a lot of the council members that sitting here, I mean, they don't know what the Public Facility Board, they don't, you know, actually, you never got a chance to meet them, you don't know who they are, so I just like for them to come to our next meeting and,
I can
introduce
make that happen.
themselves.
I know we got
let
Councilman
everybody know what they do.
Croom, Pastor Banks, Senator Ingram, but I'll make sure we get together.
But I'm just saying, I mean, so they give like, what they do, and everybody have an understanding,
Then you have a government one-on-one thing coming
That's
up?
coming up, that's, October is it, Ms. Robinson, Ms. Muhammad?
October, is it October 24th? I don't have my records in front of me.
I don't have it with me, I
believe
think it's
the
October.
24th.
We got another
6 to 8.
council meeting
Yeah,
coming up.
we got another
so-
meeting, we're gonna put it out, start.
Any other announcement?
Mayor, you asked about the park. We did have a park committee meeting with the group, and I will let everyone in West Memphis know whenever we finish these parks, it's gonna be an extremely good access, very good for the city. there's a lot of things going on, and it will be actually beneficial to the whole city. It's going across the whole city, different parts.
I want to encourage everyone that the Don Gridley Park, I believe they're almost through it. If not through it, it looks good, really looks good.
And last, I asked everyone to keep our tourism director, Jim Jackson, in our prayers and the loss of his brother. So definitely want to keep him in your prayers.
And also Mayor Johnson,
And Mayor Johnson,
Please,
Red Sox as well. So.
keep them all in our prayers.
Well, we have 2 citizen requests. We have Mr. Thomas Gasper. Would you come forward? Give your name and your address, and we normally allow 5 minutes.
Tommy Gaspard, 905 Clement Road, U.S. Army retired. Reason I'm here is for the speeding on Clement Road. It needs to stop. You don't need a radar. You got one guy got a green motorcycle stretch frame running about 100 miles an hour. You got other high school kids got high expectations on the back of their windows, loud mufflers. Wheels are sticking out of the fender wells. That's got to be illegal. You behind them, and that picks up a rock that's going into your windshield. Then you're gonna have to pay for it. You can't prove he did it. The other thing is 1502 Clement Road. I gave the lady in there last week not the addresses, but the problem. 1502 looks like worse than the city dump out here. Drive by, there's a trash out in the yard, television. I don't think anybody lives there. 1404 and 1402 Clement. Well, yeah, Clement, those got grass. Crylike's got a sign up there for sale. You can't, half of it's covered with grass. It's not even cut. And they're wondering why we got mosquitoes. 1200 Mayberry Cove. That house needs to be demolished. The roof is rotted out. All the wood out there, doors they're gone. I don't know who owns them. But this needs to be cleaned up. You come off the service road and this is what you see. That's a bad impression for Clement Road. I just think we need to do something about it. That's all I have. Yes.
May I make a comment? I agree with you because that's been something I've watched all year, and James and I talked about it, and it is bad from the time you come off that service road.
Exactly.
It looks like a war zone for about a block and a half.
Well, yeah, that's about what it is, really.
It's out of control there.
Exactly. Now, I know you got a person that goes around inspecting for high grass and stuff. If that person can't do the job and you're paying for him, call me. I'll do it for nothing. I'm retired. I don't do anything except fish. And you can catch me at the lake. Yes, sir. Yes.
May I make a comment?
I agree with you because that's been something I've watched all year, and James and I talked about it, and it is bad from the time you come off that service road.
Exactly.
It looks like a war zone for about a block and a half.
Well, yeah, that's about what it is, really.
It's out of control there.
Exactly. Now, I know you got a person that goes around inspecting for high grass and stuff. If that person can't do the job and you're paying for him, call me. I'll do it for nothing. I'm retired. I don't do anything except fish. And you can catch me at the lake.
Councilman
sir.
Hope.
One house you're referring to has been sold. I talked to the agent today, and I'm like you, it needs to be cleaned up. Either someone do a rehab on it, or I think that's what they're, in fact, it's been sold.
Yeah, it was sold. Supposedly it was
It
sold.
needs to be demolished. I mean,
I think they will have to before they do it.
okay.
Mr. Gaspar?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Croom, after the meeting, can I get those addresses from you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir, for your service.
Next, we're gonna ask Ms. June Simmons. Will you come forward, please?
Good afternoon. Well, okay. Well, that works too. Bam. Mayor, council, people. I had one thing I was gonna be real light today. I had just one thing that I wanted to ask of you, to get some information from you. But then I gotta say this. For the last couple of weeks, I've been going up my street, and I noticed that these trucks was over at Roberta Jackson's building. So, anyone that knows me here know that if I got a question about something, I'm gonna ask somebody. So finally today, I pulled into the center, and I asked the young men that were working there, what were they doing? Well, we're just getting the building straight, one replied. And I'm inside the building now, so I'm going all the way down. And he said, right in here. I said, oh, okay. I said, what are you doing to it? We're remodeling it, he said. I said, oh, okay. So what are you gonna do with it? You're remodeling it for what? Area on aging. Okay? So this is, like I say, this is not why I got on to be at the city council today. This just came up with me today. And when he said that, so I'm wondering, well, how much does he know? You know, maybe he heard this some time ago and he's just repeating. I don't know. But I am here to ask the people that's supposed to know, and do know, I hope, just what are your plans for L.R. Jackson? That's number one. Would you answer me in just a minute after I put out? I'm looking at it. 1 minute. What do y'all know about these little white bugs that's running around this city? Does anyone know anything about them?
Look the names up. I don't know how you get rid of them. They're called woolly, F-A-P-H-I-D-S. Yes, and they are horrible.
Everybody asks me, and I ask everybody, and I haven't got an answer yet.
I know the name of them.
Does anyone know where they come from? Did you know that they bite?
That's no different than some of the mosquitoes that we got now that kill you and where they come from.
Well, sir, without giving out too much information here, I'm gonna tell you this. Some of y'all older and some of them younger. I'm 74 and I don't remember life without mosquitoes.
Right.
I remember life without these little white bugs. And that's what I'm asking, because we don't know what they're doing to us. These things actually bite.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have no idea, we have no information on what's going on here. Surely somebody knew how to get some more information as to what are they doing to us? Maybe nothing, but we don't know. Okay, so I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say nobody knows, right?
Well, what we'll
Okay.
do, we just ask Victor. Try to get some information from him.
Yeah, we need to know something, and I'm gonna be looking for information too. Now, Mayor, I'm waiting on your answer.
Well, my answer right now, the council has instructed for the building to be renovated. And once it's fixed up, the council, it will come back before the council and they would decide whether area agent, disorganization, board, or whatever, the council made the decision. But right now, I just know that the council has voted to renovate the building and get the building.
Right, okay.
back.
So, will at that time you be accepting proposals from the community as to what should be done there?
This is the
before-
governing body, so whatever they would decide to want to handle it.
No input from the community at all?
I don't know why you shouldn't. You can make a recommendation.
I'm just asking, I just want to be clear.
Any idea that's a good idea would be a good thing to have, period.
Have you met with it? Have you had opportunity, I know we talked ongoing, have you had an opportunity to meet with whatever the last known board is for the Roberta Neighborhood Center? I've not been on that board, Ms. Simmons, but, there was a board. I don't know the last time that board met. Mayor McClendon, do you know, do we have a record of the last time? And I didn't know if you knew per se, but I'm not currently sitting on that board, so that's why I cannot give answers as to what the last discussion was. That does not mean that I can,
The board of directors, is that what
no
you're
ma'am,
saying?
there was
Mayor
a
Johnson
board
created
for,
a board.
right, there was a board formulated for
Oh.
for the center. And, again, even though it's in my ward, mine and Mr. Pulliam, I don't sit on the board, so I would not be able to give you the last, known meeting information. And that's just my response to your question now.
Okay.
It's when you said, will there be any input from the community? Do we know? And it's like dead silence. So I did want to say that there, to my knowledge, Ms. Simmons, we had a board. I don't know the last time the board met, neither do I know what was discussed. Not to say that I cannot find out or inquire.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. I just wanted to make those points, but we need to do something about those bugs, too.
Okay, may I say something on this? We've been dealing with this for a long, long time. From the meeting that I've had about this, I thought it was said, and I don't know about signing no contract or nothing with the area on aging. Am I right about that? I don't know about signing no contract, but I thought it was an agreement that they would get part of the building and that we would get a part of the building. Now, I'm gonna ask the,
There was a letter of
Attorney-
intent
city
signed.
attorney.
There was a letter of intent signed at one time, but there was never an agreement. Just a letter of intent.
just a letter of intent.
Right.
No agreement.
No agreement.
You heard that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, now that's what I was dealing with, because to be honest with you, they had been all over, and I wanted it to be for just community, but the rest of the council wanted it to go, part for the community and part for them. And I said, well, hey, I want to get it completed, to get it done, and get some people in there. It's been setting up too long, and now we're getting it done. Now, I guess we'll have to get together and formulate what we're gonna do with it. This is just a letter of intent. It's been signed.
Well, a letter of intent's not binding, so
No.
there could be a further agreement or agreement with somebody else, but there's no binding nature to the letter of intent, so.
Well, I can say this, whatever we do with the building, someone needs to be over that building.
Of
Because
course.
that's why it's in the shape that it's in now. And the last time I know the state gave us like 300 and some thousand, and then we turn around, and I think the city on its own put 75,000 into that building. And, you know, they went in and did a lot of remodeling in it, and it ended up being in the shape that it's in now. So, I mean, if we don't put anyone over it, it's still, we're gonna be back at the same, because, I mean, that's what happened. I mean, you go in there, you look at the destruction, and like I say, I know the state gave us 375, at least, I don't know the exact amount, but it was 300 and some thousand, and then we put 75,000 into it, the city did, way back. When, when first opening up, and then after, it closed it down, it was in such bad shape. But someone gonna have to be over that building regardless of what we do.
Well, I guess my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons.
With no other business being at hand, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? It's over.
Start here.